Hi, I'm Per Holmes, and welcome to the Causality Quick Start tutorials. In Causality, your story is made out of story points that each represent a plot event. And the script is made of snippets, which are little chunks of text that express the event. Since the script is modular, the app can rearrange it for you. So as you rearrange your story, the script literally changes underneath. So you can keep working visually with your story all the way to the end of the writing process. There is no place where outlining has to stop so writing can start. And at any point, you can start writing your snippets. Then that text just moves with the snippets as you rearrange the story. You create story points simply by dragging them in from the bottom. Or by double-clicking, and then you give them a short name. You can also organize story points into groups, which lets you handle a sequence or a chunk of plot as a single unit. Inside groups, you can also create new story points using Enter and Shift-Enter. And finally, everything goes into arcs, which represent a large chunk of story. You can either drag them in or double-click the canvas. Arcs and groups are not about story structure, they're only organizational tools. The primary way to work with Causality is as a whiteboard, where the horizontal direction represents time. These arcs are synced to the timeline indicated by the little clock icon. And then changes are immediately reflected in the script and the timeline. When an arc is synced, it's locked to the other arcs, so you can only move it up and down. And you can expand its edges. If you want to physically move it somewhere else, you have to first disable sync. And then you can move it where you want to go. Right now, the arc is completely detached from the timeline. Notice that the snippets are still at the end. Once I'm happy with where it is, I enable sync again. And then I click Update Timeline. And the snippets immediately jump to where they're supposed to be. The tool I used to open up the space was Command or Control Drag. Then I have more space to work. You can Command or Control Drag anything. Here I'm Command or Control dragging an arc to create more space. And here I'm dragging a structural marker. Finally, you can take any view full screen by pressing the Escape or tilde key. So here's the script full screen. And here's the story logic full screen, which has a mini timeline that you can collapse. You pan just by dragging any empty area. And if you hold the spacebar, you can click and drag anywhere. You zoom by pressing the Tab key, which toggles between two zoom levels, Work and Overview. So the typical motor memory is Tab to zoom out, pan where you need to go, and Tab again to zoom in. And Shift-Tab gives you an overview of the whole story. And you can also hold the Command or Control key and scroll to zoom continuously. This is literally all you need to use Causality.